At the beginning, probably I would spend more time on UX than on like my technology being able to scale. If you know what you want to build, it's faster to build an MVP. But honestly, when you have an idea, you don't know what you're building. The responsibility we have right now as a society to train AI in a way that information can be trusted.
How do you product test your proof of concept?
At the beginning, like my background, I was working for a startup called Softonics. So basically, we had around 50 million users. And at that time, if something was wrong, the code we were making as a team, but for every 5 minutes, we were losing $5,000. So everything was like, it needed to be smooth. It was crazy and the kind of responsibility. So that's my background. So at the beginning, when I started as an entrepreneur, I was like creating code that could handle millions of, petitions, and I had 5 users. So learn a lot about that to fake everything at the beginning. So I call it like the chopping process. Then I have this idea and what I need to build, and then I keep on chopping and chopping and chopping. And then I talk a lot like with my team or even my wife, like she has a lot of experience there. And what are you going to build? I'm going to build this. You don't need this. You don't need this. Chop that, chop that. And you get to the core of what you're building, and then just try that. See if people use that. So being able to chop. But then once like you chop, you have everything first, like I do the tests always. Like, I don't know why most of the people, they think that you lose more time writing the test than the code. Usually I first write the test and then I do the code. And then from there, evolving, it's really hard. It's really easy. And then you move faster. You make a lot of time for yourself and security, of course. But chopping with an axe, like everything I can from the beginning, everything. Even something it's like can be manual, I can do it manual. So I will receive an email and then I will set up in the backend. Don't, of course, like at the beginning, even like admin tools, whatever, don't do that. Just
keep it simple.
Keep it simple, core business, make it work. And once again, it's like, it's a good problem to have, needing to scale running. So you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, probably I would spend more time on UX than on like my technology being able to scale. Like,
so again, fail fast.
Yeah, fail fast. Yeah, but then because it's easier to, build software for me, it's easier than explaining whatever I'm building to people. So building the narrative, being able to explain that in a way that people, the users, they just come to your place and they naturally know what they have to do. That's the hardest part ever.
So let me ask you a question regarding, because like I have had so many discussions regarding POCs and MVPs, right? And we always said, look, POCs are just a piece of software that demonstrates that what we're building works. And, there's a very simple user flow, right? An MVP, we always say, look, MVP is something that you can deploy onto the market. It has generally one happy path for the user, and you can get paying customers, right? Like that's scale from there. And very often we see like, but a POC needs to be able to, onboard users and do all these crazy things. It's like,
can be a Figma. Sometimes we've been doing POCs and showing the POC in a Figma without even coding the backend.
Yeah, just clickable Figmas. Yeah. This is how it's going to look like. This is what this is what it will represent. Hey, is this something you like? And I think very often in Web 2, we've seen it a lot by Web 3 as well. Like people confuse that concept, right? So they talk about POCs. Like no, what you're talking about is an MVP. An MVP is obviously more work. Takes more time, takes more man hours, there's more risk involved. Have you done the POC step? Because I think that's a very valuable point to just at least like market test or back test your ideas and your perspectives. Hey, do people actually like this? Does this actually make sense? If you do that with an MVP, you're going to probably spend a lot of time and money and effort for something that may not be a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, right? Like,
and in Web3 it's even worse, because when you do an MVP in Web3, there's a lot of things you need to take into account, as you can imagine. Like, of course, security, transactions. It's not that easy. So,
no.
But then an MVP, you can just like play with that, and then of course you can move faster than when you have like, if you know what you want to build, it's faster to build an MVP. But honestly, when you have an idea, you don't know what you're building.
Yeah, I'd say. But we had a conversation yesterday with some of our partners that are doing a lot of go-to-market and ideation. Like they start with ideation stage, and the amount of clients that we start with and they're like, oh yeah, we have a really great solution. Okay, what's the problem that it solves? And they're starting actually back. It's like, okay, what are the problems? And you can't name the solutions as a problem. And they realize that 80% of the time they build something, there's no value, but in their head there is, because it's a great idea. It's another wallet on chain X which does 5 things different. It's like, who's going to be your users? Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe that should be the other way around.
Me too. I see that a lot with a lot of entrepreneurs, that they just come to me, I have this crazy idea and nobody's doing that. Maybe there's a reason for that. Nobody's doing that.
That's a very, very good point. There's sometimes a reason why people don't do it. There's a reason why some of the industries can't be disrupted, because disrupting it is going to cost you $100 billion and a lot of traction. And it's not. When people talk about disruption, it's often a very small piece of an industry that has a niche, and of that niche, you do a disruption, and that's the disruption of that piece of industry. You don't disrupt the whole industry.
But then, like, I think like people is confused with that. It's like startups are in war with corporates, something like that. And honestly, I've always been in the nowhere land, in the middle ground, like me myself, because I'm a coder. So basically, I work with the community, but then I work a lot with the big corporates. And then for the corporates, I'm the hacker, the geek guy, hacker, straight guy. But then for the hackers that I work with, I code with, then they look at me as like, you're the corporate guy because you speak with these guys. The truth is, like, by far technology made by the community, open source and hackers, is way better.
Yeah.
But then if you want to have impact, the guys from the corporate, they know a bit about that. So you need to listen to them. And sometimes you use crazy idea nobody did and the corporate is not doing. You talk to the corporate and maybe in 5 minutes, it's like just 5-minute interview with the corporate. They will tell you why they are not doing that. It's like, because we try that. People don't want that. It's like, it's as simple as that. We try that. They don't want it. So being able to work, it's not a word, cooperation, like talk to corporates sometimes and ask them why there's no solution like that. And they're going to tell you why sometimes. And it's going to hurt once again.
Yeah. But that's a very good perspective, definitely in Web3. So I wanted to, we had another one, and that's interesting because AI has been a hot topic for the last 2 years, right? Like specifically LLMs. How do you see the whole AI narrative playing into the Web3 technologies? Like Liam and myself had a couple of really hot discussions about this on where AI sits and where it goes, and if AI at this point is not Web3. How do you see this whole AI narrative? And then we're not necessarily talking about the coding structure, but the general LLM vision and perspective. How do you see that play into the Web3 technologies?
And that's a discussion that I've had a lot too. And I've been really, like, as you can imagine, I'm really into AI, doing it, using it for my work in many different ways, and coding, LLM, and LangChain, and all of these things. I'm really scared a lot. I mean, it's about, training LLMs at the end of the day. It's about training AI. So the way we train AIs will be probably, in science fiction, there's 3 paths that AI can take. One is that basically it's good, it helps us, it improves lives, everybody's happy. Second, it's bad, it kills us all, nobody's happy. Third is like AI sees us as ants, so it ignores us completely, and as long as we don't get in the way, that's gonna be. So 3 paths, and depends on the way we train AI. Right now, it's gonna be like probably the path we are gonna take. So the responsibility we have right now as a society to train AI in a way that information can be trusted, because it's not that easy. If you think, like, you just look at internet, it's crazy, like a lot of fake information. So if we use all this fake information, files, lies, whatever, everybody is like creating conflict just to get more power. So if we use that information to train AI, we are doomed. So we have a responsibility to find a way to, in a collaborative way, I'm not going to say democratic way, collaborative way, train AI. And also in a way that all of the different algorithms are open source and we can check them. Maybe then we have a chance to do something good. And then it's not really Web3, I would say decentralized, in the sense that if we have an open source decentralized way of training and verifying what AI is doing, maybe we have a chance. If we give that power to just governments like Europe. They're going to regulate, but then they are really so afraid of everything. So they're going to create some crazy regulation, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Or even companies. So
What are your thoughts on BitTensor then?
what do you mean?
You aware of BitTensor?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
The company.
their goal with their submits is to allow the decentralized training of AI models. So is that something you think is moving in the right direction?
Yes, exactly. Completely. In fact, like Context Protocol, we started as like, a company, so everybody can like have self-sorting data for everyone. So all of your public data, instead of being owned by LinkedIn, Microsoft, whatever, it's like owned by you, and then you decide whether to change it or whatever. But then we have a way to verify that. And then lately, we've been like working a lot on integrating all of this data into AI as a community. So the way AI is as a community. And I think that's the real way to go. So it's about governance. It's about that data governance. It's about like being able to challenge any information in a way that's like reasonable. So
I couldn't agree more. I think things like what Context is doing are just absolutely critical, because we need those. I mean, there's other AI projects as well, and I think that competition is what we need as well to drive the whole community forward in the right way. But yeah, being able to know around AI origination and AI training, where the data's come from, whether you can trust it or not, these are some of the biggest problems that we actually have, and they're not the ones that are most talked about.
In fact, because we have this name service, you can get your domain, whatever. One of the first decisions we made is like, we didn't want to sell the domains. I don't want you like, just because you can pay for that, you can get a name. Because then you lose like all of this credibility you need to have. But then like by putting the data on Web3 storage, like Arweave or Filecoin, it doesn't matter. But then you have traceability. It's like a lot of data linked to a domain that can be trusted and verified. So you can create all of the chain of not just traceability, but accountability on data.
Yeah.
You cannot make up things. They are on the block. Yep. So for me, it's really important that basically Web3 and AI, they work together in that. Otherwise, honestly, like I've seen so many crazy things lately. And of course, there's a lot of inequality in society, but then with AI, it's gonna even get worse. Like
you're gonna have data inequality.
Yeah, people think about basic income, so everybody gets paid. That's fine. But maybe we need to start talking about basic computation income, something like that. So you have your own amount of computation you can use in AI to advance in your career, maybe. Because right now it's not money. Like anybody I have a really amazing computer that I just bought just for that. So I have a competitive advantage against anyone that doesn't have this kind of computing, because like I can train it, I can configure it, it does everything. I have agents, so it's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that universal basic computing. That's brilliant.
I read the book. It's not mine. But I thought like, wow. I was thinking this makes good sense.